Good evening and welcome to the October 17th, 2016 Jurupa Unified School District Board meeting. We will start with a roll call, please.
President Schmidt?
Here.
Trustee Garcia?
Here.
Trustee Char?
Here.
Trustee Johnson?
Here.
Trustee Mendez?
Here.
Peter Siebert, absent. Esmeralda Rosales? Here. Alex Almador, absent.
Thank you. And Ms. Rosales, would you lead us in the flag salute, please? And Ms. Johnston has inspirational comment for tonight.
Okay. Well, the election is coming up, and it's been very contentious election season, and drive-by politics and slanderous media and all these things. So I thought that, we even mentioned of changing the Constitution. So here's what I think. We don't change the Constitution, we change ourselves. So hopefully whatever happens on election day, that we all do our best to make it work. So I have a quote here from Thomas Jefferson that refers to education and the political environment, you might say. The most effectual means of preventing the perversion of power into tyranny are to eliminate as far as practicable the minds of the people at large, and more especially to give them knowledge of those facts which history exhibits, that possessed thereby of the experience of other ages and countries, they may be enabled to know ambition under all its shapes, and prompts to exert their natural powers to defeat its purposes. Thomas Jefferson.
And next we'll report out from closed session. Mrs. Elzick.
Thank you. In closed session, the board voted with a 5-0 vote to appoint Jackie Benson to the new the Director of Fiscal Services. Jackie, could you stand, please? Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. Next we'll go. Sorry.
The board also voted in closed session with a 5-0 vote to appoint Dana Toland as the new Director of Maintenance and Operations. And he couldn't be here tonight, but is very excited about the opportunity.
Thank you. And we're all excited to have maintenance and operations back in there again. Next we'll move into the welcome. Mr. Duchamp to introduce candidates for the November 8th, 2016 Governing Board.
Running for that seat is Sylvia Ortega, who could not be here tonight, and Cheryl Schmidt, who is our board president, who is here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And then is student board members.
Well, I guess it's member tonight. So, Esmeralda, would you like to tell us about Patriot High School? You're welcome to tell us about the other schools, but that wasn't in the job description. So.
I wouldn't really be able to give much about the other schools. But as for Patriot, we are starting to plan our next rally theme, and it is Harry Potter. Our next event is actually going to be really fun. Not only is it involving teachers and students, it's also fundraising for the foundation, or the Make-A-Wish Foundation, to help a child in need. And it's called Kiss the Pig. There's going to be a few jugs, and the teacher with the most amount of money has to kiss the pig. Our winter formal dance is in preparation, and tickets will be on their way. That's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next we'll move on to recognitions. And the first will be to recognize the ABC Music and Me program.
Thank you. Before I start, can we have our ABC Music and Me staff to please stand? We're excited to announce that we were notified on October 11th that the district program ABC Music and Me was selected as a 2016 Golden Bell Award winner by the California School Boards Association. CSBA's Golden Bell Award program recognizes outstanding educational programs that highlight best practices in education. The ABC Music and Me program is a research-based language and early literacy program built around literacy and music for parents and their children. The class helps children ages 2 through 5 develop pre-literacy and language skills through a child's favorite rituals, music and story time. The program is under the direction of Mr. Jose Campos, Director of Parent Involvement and Community Outreach, and we'd like to offer them our best congratulations.
Congratulations, and we'll see you in December at that awards. Next is to recognize the funding for the Career Technology Education Incentive Grant. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. We were recently notified by the CDE that our grant has been amended to add some additional funding. The original amount of $1,331,375 was increased by $166,654 for a total grant award of $1,498,029.
Thank you. And item C is to recognize the receipt of the turf removal grant. Dr. Hanson.
I'm going to make sure I read this narrative so I don't leave out any agencies because there was a lot involved in this process. But this evening, Mr. Todd Corbin, General Manager for Jurupa Community Services District, is here to present the board with a check representing grant funds in the amount of $49,950 awarded for the district's extensive removal of grass during the stadium renovation at Jurupa Valley High School. Department of Water Resources was the originating grantor under this is Proposition 84 Drought Solicitation and Implementation Grant of 2014. The Santa Ana Watershed Project Authority was the original grantee. Western Municipal Water District received funding from the Santa Ana Watershed Project Authority, of which was distributed to retail agencies, including Jurupa Community Service District. Jurupa Community Services District reviewed turf removal projects in their service area and awarded this grant to the district based on the stadium renovations, high visibility, and large-scale removal of grass. The district would like to thank Jurupa Community Services District and Western Municipal Water District for this funding opportunity. The district further extends its gratitude to Jurupa Community Services District for its ongoing support of the district in its water-saving endeavors. With this grant, the total grants received for the Jurupa Valley Stadium project equals $209,550. So this evening, Mr. Corbin is here to present a check to the governing board if you would like to come down and receive that.
Also, I'd like to recognize our Public Affairs Supervisor, Allison Loki. Thank you. Without Allison's work, this money would not have been able to be received by the district and ultimately run schools.
One more.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
I just want to say that JCSD has been fantastic to work with and has been very responsive and helped us through this process. We really appreciate their collaboration and expertise in helping us gain this donation or this grant.
And I'm going to say thank you again to JCSD and all the collaborators that brought this grant together, and Trent for you and all of your workers that made it possible, because it took a team to get and to work all of the grant out. So thank you very much, all of you. Next is to recognize the receipt of Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program Grant Award. Mrs. Ford.
The California Department of Education recently notified the district that we've been awarded a grant for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program in the amount of $97,933.17. And you do have a copy of the grant award included in your backup materials.
Thank you. And the final one is to recognize the 2016 Employee and Family Picnic Committee. Mr. Duchamp.
Thank you, President Schmidt. Well, Saturday was our annual, which one was this? We've kind of lost count, like 10th or something. Ninth. I was close. Ninth Jurupa Unified Family Picnic, and it was just, I think, the best ever. There were, my notes say over 600, but I think there were close to 1,000 people there. I know Mr. Bynum had over 1,000 plates, and I only took 30 or 40. So the food was great. Everything had lines, but not too long. It was really nice to see the young families of our district, a lot of our teachers with their really young kids, and our classified staff, and even, I was going to, not to date people, but our principals had their grandchildren. And we do have some principals who have their own children there. It was wonderful. Just a fantastic event. So we'd like to recognize the picnic committee. Some of you are here, Mr. Michael Bynum, Denise Collins, who is the queen of the picnic. I don't know how you do it because she does not skip a beat. She keeps me in line and then still gets the picnic done. Carolyn Dodd, Michelle Erickson, Esther Garcia, Betty Weech, Richard Weech, great music we had there. Jeff Lewis, Javier Trevino, and Daniel Whitman. The entire picnic was and has been funded by our generous donations of our vendors. Our vendors donated approximately $7,500 and 57 raffle prizes to make it a wonderful experience for families. It's just, everybody loves to win things, and so that was really fun. We also had student volunteers there who kind of kept order, kept things clean, and worked hard in setting up and cleaning up, and the food was great and pretty healthy too. Mike, I ate 8 cookies and you said they were all healthy. Okay. No, it was just fantastic. The weather was beautiful, as always, or has been for the last 4 or 5 years at Miraloma Middle School. So we want to thank the school for hosting us, and it was just a wonderful day. So thank you, and thank you, Ms. Collins.
All right, next we will move to public verbal comment. And I'm not seeing any cards up here. Anyone in the audience for verbal comments? Sylvia, if you'd like to fill it out afterwards, that's fine.
Yeah, I received several calls from parents that were concerned. The last board meeting was discussed that they were making a track at several different schools for the 100 Mile Club. Some parents were under the assumption that those tracks, that some kind of little rocks were being laid for those tracks. Is that, what kind of tracks are you making for the 100 Mile Club? Is it going to be, their concern was, is it going to be the blue foam stuff that's on the playground? Or is it going to be rocks? So that is something, is that something where if a child falls, they could get hurt? It could go in their knee or leg or whatnot?
Ms. Holkeen, you need to address the board and not Mr. Hanson.
Okay,
Thank
are
you.
you going to answer that?
This is your time to ask, but none
Okay,
of us will.
I would like to know, because I want to be correct in the answer that I give these parents with their concerned, because they were told, like I said, that it was going to be some kind of stones. Their concern is if their child is running that track or walking it or whatnot, and they happen to slip, is this something that is going to cause them harm? If they fall and hit a knee, is it going to go in their knee? Because they thought, they were under the impression that it was going to be the same stuff that is on the playgrounds, that is safe. So I would like a response. I don't usually ask many times for a response, but I want a response to that because I want to make sure that I give those parents the proper answer. Their concern is for their kids, and my concern also is for the kids.
If you would ask the parents to call, I'm sure that Mr. Hanson will be happy to talk to them. Thank you. Next is administrative reports and written communications. First is a report on the Program Improvement PI Year 3 evidence.
Thank you. All districts in Program Improvement Year 3 submit an end-of-the-year evidence of progress report to the State Board of Education that demonstrates the progress of the district's implementation of their LEAP plan. This report summarizes the strategies and actions the district implemented and monitored during the last school year. Just to give you a few bullets, the primary areas outlined in the report include implementation of state-adopted curriculum in ELA, English language development, math, and intervention, staff development through California State Standards implementation, assessment alignment with units of study work by teachers through pre, post, and performance assessments, instructional technology integration and readiness for assessments and tools alignment with technology instructional planning, and parent and student engagement. That's information only.
Thank you.
Quick comment.
Yes, Mr.
Mr. Dabrowski, just a couple of things that popped up that I saw. I read the report that I just wanted to comment on. One of them was staff development, PBIS. Seemed to be a lot of good work there. And the second thing was, I think it was academic achievement or something, having to do with reading levels had increased 2 to 3 times the expected amount. So I thought that was very positive, and thank you and your team for that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is the Williams Settlement Quarterly Uniform Complaint Report Summary. Mr. Dabrowski.
We had no complaints.
Thank you. Item C is the review of the GASB 45 requirements and actuary report for other post-employment benefits. Mrs. Ford.
Under GASB 45, governmental employees are required to report their other post-employment benefit costs and obligations. In Jurupa's case, the post-employment benefits are retiree health benefits. The district uses a pay-as-you-go plan, budgeting retiree benefits to be paid each year. However, GASB 45 does require that what they call the OPEB, the other post-employment benefit expenses, be accrued over the working career of active employees, and that the accrual is shown as a liability on the annual audit report. Our 2016-17 pay-as-you-go expense is approximately $1,407,078. In conjunction with the GASB 45 requirements, we had a NIHART, an actuarial firm, complete an actuarial evaluation of JUSD's retiree health program, and the current actuarial evaluation as of July 1st, 2016, as conducted by NIHART, is in compliance with GASB 45, and you have a copy of that report in your supporting documents.
Thank you. Any questions?
Quick
Mr.
question, Ms. Ford. I looked at the report, and the implicit rate subsidy, I think, was a big increase for, it seemed like that was, the way I understood it, from the last 2 years.
Correct.
Was there a previous subsidy that increased?
Correct. We have to provide a report every 2 years on actuarial evaluation, and they've never had a requirement to include that implicit rate subsidy, but now we do have that to include it. But again, we budget on a pay-as-you-go basis, so the report is indicating that we are keeping up with what we need to set aside to be able to meet that pay-as-you-go need.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mendez, did you have a question? Okay. Thank you. Any other administrative reports or written communications?
There are none.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to the action session to approve and adopt routine action items by consent. Items A, 1 through 30.
Move to approve routine action items A1 through 30 as printed.
Motion by Ms. Johnston,
Second.
second by Ms. Chard. Call for the vote, please. Motion passes 5-0. No. Item B is to award bid number 16-1701 PD for the Patriot High School restrooms. Dr. Hanson.
This item is for the restrooms that will be built at Patriot High School. We received 7 bids on September 28th, and the summary of bids are listed there as follows. After careful review of the bid documents submitted by each firm, it was determined that Adam Engineering Construction failed to sign a required bid form and submit the required references by the bid deadline. Therefore, by not submitting the completed form and references, Adam Engineering Construction is deemed to be non-responsive. Based on this information, the lowest responsive bidder for this project is Mel Smith Electric. And administration recommends this evening that the board reject the bid from Adam Engineering Construction on the basis that they are non-responsive, and to award a contract for bid number 16-17-01 PD, the Patriot High School restroom site prep, to Mel Smith Electric in the amount of $363,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Johnston, second by Mr. Garcia. Questions or comments? Call for the vote, please. Motion passes 5-0. Item C is to award bid number 16-17-02 PD, the Mission Bell Elementary School electrical relocation. Dr. Hanson.
On September 9th and 16th, the administration solicited bids for the electrical and low-voltage rerouting to support the relocated portable classrooms at Mission Bell Elementary. 3 bids were received and opened on October 7th. After the bids were opened, the apparent lowest bidder, GA Technical Services, requested to withdraw its bid due to a mathematical error, as well as for failure to list its subcontractors, a required item, as a responsive bidder. The bid results are listed there. Based on GA Technical Services' request to withdraw its bid, Construction Electric is the lowest responsive bidder. Administration recommends this evening that the board allow GA Technical Services to withdraw its bid and release its bid bond. Administration also recommends that the board award a contract for bid number 16-17-02 PD, Mission Bell Elementary electrical relocation to Construction Electric in the amount of $389,900.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Mendez,
Second.
second by Mr. Garcia. Questions or comments? Call for the vote, please. Motion passes 5-0. Item D is to adopt resolution number 2017-37, amending the Conflict of Interest Code pursuant to Political Reform Act of 1972. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. This was brought before you last month and approved, but in doing so, we had missed a requirement to file with the County Board of Supervisors prior to bringing it before you. So we've rectified that and filed with the County Board of Supervisors, and it's back before you tonight for reapproval.
Thank you.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Garcia,
Second.
second by Ms. Chard. Any questions or comments? Call for the vote, please. Motion passes 5-0. Item E is to receive Surplus Property Advisory Committee report and adopt resolution number 2017-40, the resolution of the Board of Education of the Jurupa Unified School District designating certain retail properties surplus to the district's needs, determining the inapplicability of the Naylor Act offer requirements, and authorizing the solicitation of offers to lease such properties from specified government governmental entities pursuant to education and government code requirements. Mrs. Ford.
On June 27th, the board approved the formation and appointment of a surplus property advisory committee, otherwise known as the 7-Eleven Committee. And the committee has now completed a review of the 3 properties to be considered a surplus, and they've prepared a written report that you have in your supporting documents. And this report includes the committee's recommendations. The report provides a recommendation to lease as opposed to sell all 3 of the properties that were considered. And the committee recommendations for potential uses were for the old textbook warehouse. They prioritized uses to be community services such as mental health, medical, social welfare that would serve the community at large. And then that was their number 1 recommendation. The second recommendation would be park and recreational purposes. The third recommendation would be Chamber of Commerce uses. And the last recommendation would be retail. And the old textbook warehouse is the property that's here at the corner of Agate and Jurupa Road. And then the other 2 properties considered were what we call the House on the Hill at the Training and Support Services Center, and Tross Street Elementary, where the one building where Borrego Health Clinic is currently residing and occupying that building. And the committee's recommendation for the potential uses of those 2 properties were community services such as mental health, medical, social welfare that would serve the community at large. These are recommendations to the board. This means the board can either accept those recommendations or choose to go a different route. What the resolution is asking the board to do tonight is to go further with what we need to do under Ed Code and under Government Code, which is adopt a resolution of intent to lease vacant classrooms and authorize administration to begin the process of notifying the county and also notifying the specific governmental entities that are outlined in the Ed Code. So we are asking the board tonight, recommending that the board adopt the resolution number 2017/40, resolution of the Board of Education of the Jurupa Unified School District designating certain real property surplus to the district's needs.
Thank you.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mendez, second by Mr. Garcia. Questions or comments?
Yes, Ms. Ford, the notification following the approval, pending the approval of the board, would go to, you said, government agencies and the county, correct? Any other nonprofit organizations would be considered, or is it just limited to these entities?
We're required to formally contact with a letter any entities that provide special education services to our community, to our students in our community. So that would be the county program. So we will formally notify them by letter, as well as a local governmental agency, like the Parks and Rec would receive a letter and so forth. So we will make sure that all those letters formally go out. However, in addition to that, we will have to provide some public announcements that are advertised in the paper, letting them know that we have these properties available for lease.
Okay, thank you. I also had a question in regard to the recommended uses of the facilities. They're in priority order in terms of the way they've been recommended to the board. In terms of proceeding to actually determine who would use the facilities, is it dependent on those priorities, or does it depend on maybe the agency that may need the facilities and the type of service they may be providing to the community?
So what this resolution would be stating is that the board is authorizing administration to go out and solicit offers. So once we have done the formal notifications, we'll be able to hold the public notifications in the paper and solicit offers. We would bring any of those offers back to the board.
Thank
So the
you.
board would make that decision.
Thank you.
Ms. Johnson?
Do you have any idea how you will set the rent? How you will establish the rental for each organization, or
We-
just negotiation? I would assume that the county might have some idea how to charge those people, but others?
What we will do is, I already have some information on leased property within the area, but this will be a little bit different. So what we would do would be work with a broker, and that broker would help us to identify a potential lease cost.
I'm sorry, Ms. Ford, I did think of another question. Once we proceed with the leasing of the properties, how would that money come back into the district? Into what budgetary account or process?
We haven't gotten that far, but,
Okay.
but
I'll
yes,
take-
we would have to, it would be coming in as revenue.
Okay.
And we would bring it in, bring the funding in as revenue. And, you have to bring it in as capital? As a lease, yeah. So, right. So we would bring in like we do our use of facilities, so if it was a lease. If the board that made a determination they wanted to sell property, then we would bring it into our capital funds.
Thank you. Have we ever done this before?
I don't believe we've leased before.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah, we haven't leased. We've sold before, but we have not leased.
thank you.
To the county. Yeah, our only leases that we have are the county, which I believe is $1 lease program that we have for 99 years. But
Thank you very much.
One other thing is you will have maintenance issues, so you might consider putting the money back towards maintenance or have some sort of security deposit or cleaning deposit, however you define it.
Ms. Ford, I have two questions. One, all three of these properties are not for use by students or would not be used by students if we had a resurgence in attendance, correct?
correct. Yes.
And-
The property at Agate and Jurupa Road is not Field Act compliant, so we're not able to put students in that property. And then the house on the hill is very, very small rooms. It was actually a house at some point, and it has never been used for classrooms. And then the property that's at Tross Street, it's also very small. It's very similar in size to the house on the hill. So it's currently being used as a clinic, because it works out much better for that than it would for classrooms.
And then the two properties that are on school campuses, they are or will be fenced off separate from the school campus.
Correct, yes.
Thank you. And Mr. Garcia, did you have
I
one
just had a
more?
quick comment. I just wanted to thank the committee for your service and for, bringing these recommendations to the board. I know Councilman Frank Johnson is here. Thank you for serving on that committee. And we appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you. I was going to do the same. Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. With no other questions or comments, we will call for the vote. Motion passes 5-0. Item F is board member comments and committee reports. And we'll start with Mr. Mendez tonight.
Thank you, Madam President. It's really great to have another blue, the recognition of the ABC Music Program by Mr. Campo and his groups by the Bell Award, Golden Bell Award. It's nice to have, I don't know, this is the third year in a row that we've had, third year in a row that we've had representation in that category at CSBA. So it's going to be wonderful to once again have that program recognized. So thank you to all those involved in running that program and the success that it's had. It's great to see the career incentive grant being increased. That'll provide more opportunities, for our students. I also like to extend my appreciation to Mr. Todd Corbin for the partnership that we have had with him over the time that he's been there with the district, with the Jurupa Community Services District. It's always good to see agencies get together and maximize the opportunities and those precious dollars that we receive, to do things like this and make our community better as a whole. The family picnic, I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it this year. It seems to be that event's becoming more fabulous every year, and it's just a fabulous, great way to have the district be a family out there and enjoy a nice day together, and with all the fun activities that Miss Denise over there always manages to pull off, along with a fabulous staff that does such an amazing job with all of this. And I also would like to commend and thank and appreciate the work of the committee that provided us with those recommendations for leasing the properties. Great work, and we appreciate all that you brought before the board today, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Thank you. First, I'd like to congratulate Ms. Jackie Benson on her appointment, and Mr. Dana Toland. Both of you, I'm sure, will do a great job, and you have the confidence of the board and staff, so we look forward to great things. Family picnic was great. I enjoyed it. I got to volunteer with the petting zoo again, and I think people are wanting to. I think there's a waiting list for that job, so hopefully I can stay on that. But it's a lot of fun, especially to see the kids out there. And anyway, great time. I also like to thank Mr. Jose Campos with all his programs, and I talk about his programs all the time, and I'm glad to see he's getting that recognition this year in the Golden Bell again. So that's great. Mr. Corbin, thank you again as always. We appreciate all your work and working with our district. And just one last comment, Dr. Hanson, I just wanted to mention in the, I think it was in the consent items, summary of change orders. I took a look at that, and I think the two projects there, one came in on budget exactly, and one was under budget by $10,000 some odd dollars. And thank you and your team for keeping up the great work there and minimizing that. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Johnston.
Let's see. Well, my compliments to the staff, the new staff, and the picnic and its success. I had a fundraiser at the same time, same day. Also, I was privileged to attend the Career Tech Committee meeting held by Roberta Pace, and they have met several times since I've been there last, and I was very impressed with the work program and the lady who had an insurance company and had students working for her. It reminds me when I went to high school, we had those similar things, although I didn't participate so much outside of the school. I did work in the school office when time permitted. And also, I enjoyed the Education Summit, Academic Excellence and Innovation, the models. We had our own presentation there at Cafe Latario, and I observed that. I also observed a science, kind of like the model of the science fair, only they were doing a project every 3 months, and they had students very, very involved in asking a lot of questions. So whatever the topic was, it didn't really stop, start to finish. It also was sort of an ongoing questioning and a what if, and very much a lot of participation. So I thought that was very interesting. And too bad we didn't get to see all of the presentations, because there was a lot of interesting things going on in the workshops.
Mrs. Chard.
Well, I'm not going to say very much tonight because I seem to start coughing when I talk. I will reiterate on all of my colleagues, everything that they said tonight. Congratulations to everyone. Congratulations to Jackie Benson. Congratulations to Mr. Campos again. I did go to the Education Summit, and Ms. Johnson and I went to the exhibits, and they were very, very well presented. There were quite a few that would have been interesting if we'd been able to go to all of them. Like she said, it's too bad we cannot see them all. I was on the beginning of the Café Literario when I was working at Aina Arbuckle, and I'm so happy to see that it's still going on and how it's expanded. It's just a wonderful way for our parents to get to know each other and keep, they read in that, and then they take it to their children get involved in the reading too. And with Mr. Campos's music programs, we are at least keeping the arts back in the schools where that's where it should be. We've kind of gotten away from that over the years. Don't have music as much, but now we're getting back there and having the arts back there again. That's all I have to say tonight.
Thank you. And I too attended the Palm Springs Excellence Awards from the county, and Café Literario was a great presentation. We have a great group of ladies that attend grew from about 5 to now they have around 50 each week attending. Jurupa Picnic was great as always. Thank you to all of you that spend all year getting that ready for one big hoopla one day and it's all done and start back over again. I also attended Van Buren, had a trunk or treat and movie night with about 90 families there for the evening. And Patriot will be having a trunk or treat on the 29th. Let's see, congratulations to Mr. Toland and Ms. Benson for your new positions. And thank you for the check and for awarding us all of the money, not only that check, but all of the funds that have come in for removing grass and for the relationship with JCSD and keeping our water prices low, since we are one of the biggest water users in the county. Yes. And with that, thank you to everyone for being here tonight, and we will see you in November.